Hi everybody, welcome to week 6 of healthcare research. Thanks for hanging in there. We're getting there. All right, week 6. So this week we're getting more into the technical side of research, and it can be a little confusing. I applaud you for hanging with us up to this point. My lighting keeps changing. Sorry about that if I go a little dark. So up to this point, we've talked a lot about conceptually, qualitative, quantitative, what is grounded theory, things like that. Now we get into the more technical pieces, even some statistics information. So this week's lecture, the written lecture, provides kind of a nice, concise overview of some information, but if you just read that and don't read the book, it can be really confusing unless you've been involved in research. Okay, so I'm going to suggest first that you read your book. It's kind of one of those things. But when you get to terms that aren't clear, I want you to either pull out your BSN research book or go online and Google what the information is. Because when we start talking about things like different types of errors or different types of analysis, you're going to need to know a little bit about that information, because for your evidence-based practice project and for your individual research article critiques, you need to know something about the method of analysis that's being used in those research articles. So you're going to have to look up some of those terms to be able to say whether or not the right statistic was used, or if this seems plausible for the data that's being analyzed. Okay, so and there is in the resources for this week, there is a really nice little statistics webpage that you refer to, where you just click on what type of data, like nominal, ordinal, that kind of thing, what you know about the population. If you can pull that from your article, you can plug those in and it'll tell you what statistics should be used to get at what you're looking at in the quantitative research. And so that's kind of a nice thing to be able to use. I remember I had like a chart when I was in my doctoral program. Okay, do this, do this, do this. ANOVA, that's what you should be using. Anyway, so that's a nice resource. So don't freak out when you start looking at the material. Please know that my expectation is you are going to need to look up some stuff, okay? And you might, again, need to go back to that BSN research book or look online to understand some of those terms that we're talking about. So the discussion questions, first one talks about type 1 and type 2 errors, what they are and how we can avoid those. And it's important that you understand those two, because it'll help you when you're looking at research to say, I'm not so sure about that. I think they committed this type of error. Maybe it really is this. Okay, and then you're going to be talking about one way of analyzing multivariable data. So if I'm looking at a research article that just has to do with measuring pain, that would be a one variable research. But when I'm trying to look at connections between pain and age and culture and medication, those are multivariables that I'm measuring and want to analyze together. So this is looking at one way to analyze multivariable data and a way to do that. So don't let it freak you out. All right, as far as assignments, you're now going to be going back to your own articles that you selected, the quantitative and the qualitative. And this week you're going to be focusing on the methods section. Okay, so a lot of this ties in with the methods section. How did they really conduct this research? Why did they include this population or this many people? What was the actual process? So we're going to be digging more to that into your articles. And remember, I gave you some kind of specific feedback on your first research article and critique that you turned in. So try to pay attention to that. Please contact me if you have any questions. I try very hard to at least look at the individual and questions to the instructor forums every day. So please don't hesitate to contact me, and I will do my best to give you some information. I am going to be scoring those research tables from your CLC. I would strongly encourage you to start working on the week 7 CLC information now, because now you're going to have to take all this information that you've collected and actually formulate the intervention step by step that you want to implement. This practice based on evidence that you actually want to implement someplace. And that might take a while between communicating at different times of the day and different shifts and all that good stuff. So I would suggest that you get a little start on that. If you have questions, just send them to me. I do try to look in your groups quite often, but the best way is to send me a question either through the individual forum or questions to the instructor forum, because I'll see them right away there. Okay? All right. 3 more weeks, 6, 7, and 8, and then we'll be done. So, the other thing I wanted to tell you, I have been very impressed with some of the information that you've been putting into your DQs. And I'm glad to see some of you are really looking at research differently, understanding some of the terminology, understanding a little more of the complicated processes that go in to setting up a research project. It's been very exciting for me to see your knowledge base grow as you've been going through the weeks in this course. So congratulations on that. All right, I'll see you in the main forum.